Two bands that Bob Dylan hated the most. Bob Dylan is considered one of the most influential musicians of the 20th century. Through his poetic lyrics, Dylan became a prominent voice of social unrest during a turbulent time in America's history. He is not a man of hate, but he is certainly not a man of hero-worshipping either. Dylan has never been one to bite his tongue when asked for his opinion, and he has always said what's on his mind, wherever this be in interviews or in his lyrics. This approach has landed him in trouble with both the press and his contemporaries on plenty of occasions. But it has also been an integral part of what makes him the enigma that he is. Here are two bands that Bob Dylan hated the most. In the early 1980s, a strange hysteria swept over the U.S. Misinformation about the band began to spread in the Southern Bible Belt states, including a rumor that the name KISS stood for Knights in Satan's Service, and that the four members were devil worshippers. Bassist Gene Simmons shared in his autobiography, and then KISS Gene Simmons was suspected of having the tongue of a cow. While the rumor was really nothing more than a manifestation of widespread parental paranoia, KISS didn't just receive a barrage of abuse from worried guardians. A born-again Bob Dylan was at it, too. Bob Dylan has had complicated relationships with other artists, but one of his most puzzling is with the members of KISS. Dylan and KISS couldn't be more different. However, the "Blowin' in the Wind" singer hated the rock band, their music, and even their fans. Dylan felt that their songs were toxic and destructive to the soul, and he vowed to combat decadent art like theirs through his own, which spoke of enlightenment and spiritual redemption. In 1979, Bob Dylan didn't need to hear the rumors to believe KISS was Satanists. He formed that opinion all on his own once he became a born-again Christian. His new religiousness started featuring in his songs, and he saw KISS as a threat to rock and roll. Following his next performance, he returned to his hotel room, where he claimed to have seen a vision of Christ. There was a presence in the room that couldn't have been anybody but Jesus. Dylan later shared about his spiritual epiphany in the late 1970s. "Jesus put his hand on me. It was a physical thing. I felt it. I felt it all over me. I felt my whole body tremble. The glory of the Lord knocked me down and picked me up." While performing at the University of Arizona, he started adding Bible references to some of his famous songs on that tour. Fans were perplexed by his new attitude change and weren't afraid to voice their agitation. Dylan fumed and thought that the time had changed for the worst. He scathingly yelled, "If you want rock and roll, you can go see KISS and rock and roll all the way down to the pit." This was the start of his belief that Simmons and his satanic face-painted cohorts were on their way to hell, and their gimmicky rock sound was not to his taste either. The Beatles. In the early 1960s, Bob Dylan and the Beatles rose to fame, becoming key figures in the music industry. The Beatles frequently spoke about Dylan's influence and how often they listened to his music. During the rise of rock music in the 1960s, Bob Dylan and the Beatles found themselves navigating fame together. Although they admired Dylan's unique lyrical approach, Dylan didn't hold back from critiquing the Beatles' work if he felt it fell short of their usual high standards. In 1966, Dylan released a song that brutally mocked the Beatles. "Fourth Time Around" stands out as a lesser-known treasure on Bob Dylan's iconic album, Blonde on Blonde. However, it also cleverly parodies the Beatles' Norwegian Wood, "This Bird Has Flown," offering a sharp and witty commentary. What was the reason behind Dylan's anger towards the Beatles? He felt they were imitating his style and using him as a musical crutch. He expressed this frustration: "I never asked for your crutch, now, don't ask for mine." This was a clear message to the group, especially Lennon. Reportedly, upon listening to the song, Dylan remarked, "What's this? It sounds like me, Bob. John's imitating me. Even Sonny and Cher are imitating me, but I'm the one who invented it."